Well, hello, hello. Good morning. Happy Monday, January 26th to all of you, I don't know, 100 million Americans that survived this mega storm, Ted.
And who didn't get shot by ice. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations to all of us. Good
You
job.
can't all
staying
say
alive.
that. Some of us have been shot to death by ice.
I know. I mean, it's Ted, real estate rules. Location, location, location. So I'm good in Northern Virginia. So this is the
How much
TMI
snow
show,
did you
the
get?
Ted Manila Information Show. They said we got around a foot of snow. However, I think the way it presented, I mean, you know how the meteorologists measure snow and rain differently than what we actually see on the ground? Like they measure, like they use like a little tube thing or
Yeah.
like
In a park
so
usually or something like
yeah. Like it's like a small tube, like the size of a cup or something. It's like
that.
okay, but it gathers differently in real life, right? So I've always known that because I worked in local news, and the meteorologists explained to me that's what they're taught in school, and that's how it's done at the weather service or whatever. So they're like, yeah, but it never matches accumulation from what people see. So I always kept that in mind. Um, so we had to twice go out and shovel snow out of to not block the front door, because or else if we didn't, I would guess it would have been like over 20 inches of accumulation. It would have blocked the door. Like we wouldn't be able to open our doors.
I've had that historically. I know what that is.
Really?
In Ohio, I remember, not being able to open the door and having to find, hopefully the back. Well, usually if one side of the house is blocked, the other side is not, because you have a drift, right?
I was thinking like
not always. There was one time I had to go.
Cold climate should have sliding doors.
I had to go out through the window of the house in order to escape.
Because you're trapped in from the snow.
Yeah.
You literally can't push the door open.
Impossible. Yeah.
Damn, that's
you had
fire
like 3
hazardy.
4 feet of
Yeah. This is like my first snowstorm. So, like, here I am, middle age, first snowstorm. I gotta say, Ted, not as exciting as I thought it was going to be. I don't know what I was expecting.
Snowmageddon.
Yeah,
no, it wasn't really that.
So I don't.
It was Look, it was a good size amount of snow up here too. I have about 2 feet to deal with, but it's like sort of. But it wasn't a whiteout. That's the thing. It was just steady. Right. It wasn't a blizzard. It was just a good, steady snowstorm.
I guess to a Californian, when you hear the term
I like a blizzard. I like to see shit flying around and
Oh, is that how you define? I don't know how any of this is defined.
Well, a blizzard has to do with
Californian.
You need high winds for it to be a blizzard.
Oh, snowstorm is already like, oh, that's scary. So then it came and it was just like the slow wafting all day, just all day wafting.
Oh, it wasn't. Well, it was like steady wafting, but yeah.
Yeah, it was nonstop, constant wafting. And then at some point it became like freezing rain, or something.
Yeah, that didn't happen here.
I don't know what these terms are.
It's just snow.
And then it was pelting me in the face because my son, of course, wanted to sled. And so we did that. But then it turned into like little
sleet,
tiny
like ice.
I don't know. I don't really know what any of those are. So I just know
sleet is when it's like the little hard, like the hard, blistering, pingy things.
Yes.
That's 33 degrees. 33 degrees. Those are ice pellets that are basically not able to form. It's not quite cold enough to form into a snowflake. So it's just that like sweet spot between rain and between freezing rain and snow.
See, these are all terms that I'm like, I don't know. In California, we don't have those.
You guys
words.
don't be doing sleep. Well, although up there, I was shocked in like driving in the high Sierra Mountains once, and I encountered like places where there were 10 feet of fucking snow on the ground in California.
Yeah, I mean, if you're up in the mountains,
December.
I mean, for us folks generally down, like in the lowlands. That's not a part of our vocabulary. So I always
Yeah.
heard about it on TV, and this was like my first
Like,
experience.
yeah, on TV in California, they'd be like, Caltrans is requiring chains north of blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Like,
I don't even know how
now,
to put
now I
chains on
know.
my car, but all right.
So now I know. I've seen it now. So I got to point out
I'm
Ray
hoping to
in
die
the
before I
Rumble
ever
chat.
have to put chains on my car.
Ray in the Rumble chat says, remember, Manila, sex is like snow. You never know how many inches you'll get and how long it'll last.
So true. And I guess it could be cold too.
Yeah, I mean, this is a learning experience for me. This is totally a learning
I
experience.
don't know. If sex is cold and windy, there's issues there, but all right.
I gotta say, I wasn't thrilled. I don't know what I was expecting, but this wasn't it.
You were expecting whiteout conditions. That's what you were expecting.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it would be more dramatic and I'm horrible to say this, but
more death.
Thankfully, only 9 people died.
Right. No.
And one of them was over in New York, Ted, and I think in the city.
Actually, quite a number of homeless people froze to death in New York City.
Maybe they haven't counted that yet. I don't know.
No, they don't count them. Yeah.
Oh my God. The one lady in New York City, I guess she was standing behind a snowplow and they backed up into her.
Oh, what a way to go. I had a colleague when I worked years and years ago. I had a colleague. She was decapitated by a snowplow. She was driving.
Oh my God.
And the snowplow, you know, like when you're driving and the snowplow's going the other way, and sometimes they're in your lane, you know, because they're big and wide. Well, she didn't do the little scoochy scooch. She's like, I have the right of way. I'm on my side of the double yellow. So the snowplow cut off the entire top of her car and the top of her.
Oh my God. See, this okay. When we talk about the first story,
it's like colleague in a box. I know. It's serious.
Ted, this is the whole conversation we need to have on the first story about self-preservation. And I know a lot of like pedestrians, for example, are emboldened because technically they have the right of way.
Oh, yeah. No, this is a peeve of mine. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. This is
that's because you and I both subscribe to the third world rule of the road, which is like if it's bigger, it wins.
It wins. Whether it's a buffalo or a snowplow,
a bigger
or even
car
than
yours, a truck,
even a Honda Civic. If you're a pedestrian,
a Honda Civic is bigger than a bicycle.
You ain't gonna win.
It's size rules. Size matters. Again,
the law will be size queen. Size queen for rules of the road.
Now, when you are a pedestrian,
don't
you stay the fuck away from snowplows. You know, treat them the way you would treat an ICE officer. Avoid them.
Run away. Robbie says we have an ad. Do we still need to get to that, Robbie? Yeah, he says yes. Okay, let's get to that. And then we'll hop into the topics. But these are rules for living life, Ted. When you watch the TMI show, we'll just tell you. We're going to tell you it should be obvious facts.
Yeah, like in California, people will walk out into the street in the pedestrian crosswalk because they're like, I have paint protecting me. Like, oh, yeah, but you want to make sure that the drivers, first of all,
want to look.
Yeah,
are not
drivers
texting.
Might be on their phone. Also, the drivers aren't necessarily from your state. They might not know what that line in the street means. You know, so you just got to be, careful.
I could tell you. I'll get to the ad. Just a lot of pedestrian death is up in California, Ted.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And don't you people hate on California? I know what people are saying. I know what you're thinking.
I know. They're saying like good.
Like good. You guys are dumb. You're airheads.
We're not going to miss you.
It's not nice. And I know certainly Robbie's thinking that. Okay, I'm going to get to the first ad. All right. Still haven't tried 1775 coffee. Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. Only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits hard, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality Mushroom Coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. You're also getting a gold spoon clip because freedom ain't scooped with plastic. A frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions. and you get a black 1775 tumbler. That's $170 worth of coffee and gear, all yours for just 99 bucks. This is for all of you who have been watching 1775 blow up right here on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're all gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like Rumble does. All right, Ted, let's get to our stories and blast through this stuff, because we'll continue the self-preservation talk, because with ice being ice, and I don't mean like the snowstorm. I mean, immigration custom enforcement. I feel like for all the people out there, there's a level of self-preservation we got to consider. So we'll talk about that.
All right.
First Amendment be damned, Ted. Self-preservation is that's
right.
I
think things might be possible spice alert. Go ahead, read the story.
All right. So if you guys haven't heard, obviously, federal officers shot and killed an ICU nurse this weekend named Alex Pretti. He was a 37-year-old protester in
By the way,
Minneapolis.
it's like central casting, isn't it? Like first ICE kills a guy named a lady named Good. Then they kill a guy named Pretty. Like, what's next? Like killing a baby named Cute.
Oh.
And then like maybe ICE should rename themselves like Hollywood villains too, like Satan,
like Cruella de Vil,
Bob Satan, or whatever.
Satan. Cruella de Vil, like obviously.
Although de Vil is not an evil name, but yes.
Well, they mean devil.
Mm-hmm. So, oh my God, I didn't realize that.
Ted,
I had no idea.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm serious.
Shut up.
Idea. I'm serious. I had no idea. Thank you. I learned something every day. Good thing I didn't commit suicide last night.
Ted, what? You didn't know Cruella de Vil? Her name is Cruel Devil.
Okay, I'm a dingus. I admit it. I'm a fucking moron. I have no idea.
Who's the dingus California now, Ted?
I'm like,
okay. You got 62 years in blissful ignorance watching the 101 Dalmatians with your kid, and you're just
yeah, that's true.
Oh, what a cruel lady. What a cruel lady.
Cruel
Ted.
Devil.
Ted.
All right.
Ted. Good thing you're pretty. Oh, Ted.
Yep.
That's so cute.
At least I have that.
At least you got that going for you. So the incident marks obviously the second fatal shooting of a U.S. citizen, white person. I'm going to throw that in there too.
No, that is white. That's not an unimportant detail, really.
Yes.
That's why we're talking about it so much. That's why we care.
White because everybody else cared with the George Floyd thing too. But it's unique in that these two cases are white people.
Do you know that like so you've heard Minnesota. This thing, right? But only 3 people have been murdered in Minneapolis so far in 2026, and 2 of them were murdered by ICE.
Holy cow. I've never been to Minneapolis, but I feel like there's a lot of white people there. I could be wrong.
You are wrong. I mean, yes, there are a lot of white people, but it's got a sizable black population for sure.
Oh, really?
And not to mention your people, the Hmong.
Really? Well, yeah, that's true. I've heard of that. Yeah. So they obviously.
No, there's big black neighborhoods like with a whole, like if you're from New York City, you would not be uncomfortable or in Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Oh, well, so DHS says Mr. Pretti, this is what they said, approached Border Patrol agents with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun and resisted attempts to be disarmed. Video footage would suggest Pretti
it would suggest
had his
how about
concealed
your fucking
would
show and prove beyond a shadow of a doubt
that yes, he was armed, concealed carry legally. It was holstered in his waistband. He didn't touch it, reach for it during any interaction with the officers before like 10 goons jumped him. Officers appeared to discover and remove the firearm after Mr. Pretti was pinned down. He didn't just
approach them and say, "Hey, fuckers."
No.
They walked up to a lady who was just standing there. doing nothing, not in anybody's way.
They shoved her.
And they shoved her gratuitously just for fun. I mean,
and then started
for real.
pepper spraying, and he
And
got
then,
in between.
then he appalled, rightly, as any red-blooded American young man would be when they see a lady being brutalized
Assaulted.
by a mook, thug, asshole, scoundrel. Interceded.
He intervened
nobly,
Yeah.
and then he was immediately beset upon by the mooks who sprayed
by like 10 goons.
They dropped him to the ground. One snatched away his gun. They could have just said, "Sir, could you please hand us the firearm so we feel safe?"
Well, they didn't see it. I saw a lot of video from
they threw him down.
They tackled him.
There were like 9 of them on
until
top
he was
of
on
him.
the ground.
They shot. One of them pulled the gun away. Then
discharging it is what I heard. I mean, we'll see on ballistics.
Possibly discharging the gun, which does not. The model probably didn't have a safety, or maybe not. But anyway,
we don't know.
Point is,
we got to wait for ballistics.
But someone shouted "gun." One of the ICE agents shouted "gun." Then the ICE agents backed away like they were in The Sopranos, all like side by side, and shot the guy while he laid on his stomach in the back,
prone,
10 times, like at least 10 times.
Just awful.
He had been disarmed. Awful. He was clearly not a threat. They had fun. They did it. And when they walked away, this has been caught on video, one of the ICE agents walked by some protesters, and he was one of the people who had just shot this guy to death. He said, "Oh, boo-hoo, so sad for you."
What? Just okay. Like, so we all know that's a given. This is like an asshole move by that ICE guy, and the response. And Ted and I have talked about how their hiring practices are really I mean, for law enforcement, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel to like, and if you got a pulse and can have a hand strong enough to pull the trigger, then you can get a job. So that summarizes that. But a couple of things that really continues to piss me off, Ted, is how, for example, how Secretary Noem keeps holding these press conferences, right? Like with her Ice Barbie hat and her hair all done and her big earrings and her, like, great, sister, I get it. You look great from mid-50s. You're amazing. Wonderful. Like, go do something else. Like, this is not for you. She keeps, look, when you are in a government position like hers, you represent all citizens. Just like if you're POTUS, you represent all citizens of this country.
Not this administration, Manila. This administration has made crystal clear, over and over again, that they are only the presidents. They are only the government. The
administration for
Republicans, and not even all of them. Only for Republicans who are loyal to Trump and his minions. They are not. They are not the president of the United States of America. He is the president of about 33% of the United States of America. He does not care about you. Like, for example, when Renee Good, it turned out, had a Trump supporting father, and he learned that, then Trump expressed sympathy for him and said, "Oh, I hope he still likes me."
Oh my God, I hadn't heard that one.
He only cares about, he does not give a shit
his voter
about someone like me. He'd be happy if I died. He'd laugh. They all are like that.
Well, so with regard to Kristi Noem, though, she keeps going before the media and tainting what could potentially be a jury pool or a case, to be brought before the magistrate or whatever, right? Like the DOJ, whoever. She keeps tainting it via the press and immediately calling this guy, Nurse Pretti, a domestic terrorist. She says, she doesn't imply. She says it straight out.
To do maximum damage to law enforcement. In other words, he showed up there. That his goal was to shoot, kill, and murder as many law enforcement officers as possible. She said that. And there's no way
she could know any intent.
Also, she made very clear there will be no investigation. There has been no investigation whatsoever. I mean, just think about this. Manila, Renee Good was shot to death, by a federal agent. Now, when there's a shooting of a human being that leads to, even not to someone dying, like it just shoots their toe. Okay, there's an investigation. Okay, yeah. Even if like there's been no wrongdoing, it's one of those things that happens. It's like the point is there's literally this woman was killed. She's dead. She is gone, and literally the state and local government police forces were told, "Fuck off. We're destroying or keeping any existing evidence, and you don't have access to any witnesses." And
all those ice goons,
we've got it. The FBI is going to do it, and then within days, the FBI decided not to do an investigation. Literally, a lady's dead, and there's not any investigation whatsoever, even a whitewashed one to say like, "Yeah, we looked into it, but actually
we tried."
But Jonathan Good's fine. Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Ross, he's cool. It's fine. I mean,
right.
There's not even like the window dressing here, right? They don't even. No. There's not even a pretense of objectivity or fairness.
The guys that were involved in this, the goons that were all jumped him. Usually, all of these guys would be, if you were involved in anything of a scuffle like this that was televised and got put on TV like this, you would be put on desk duty or administrative leave, right? These guys are not. These guys, however, they got booked a flight right out of town, and they're serving elsewhere in another town now, ready to be shooty somewhere else. So they're out active duty somewhere else, and not on desk duty, not on administrative leave. This is like completely breaking a protocol. Completely.
Here's the thing. I'm working on a column about it. It'll probably come out later today. But basically, this is about state violence, right? So, and the argument I'm going to make is, so there's anarchy, like Afghanistan, like, in the 90s and the aughts. That's anarchy. Where literally, anything goes. You can shoot me. Nothing will happen. There's no cops. You won't be arrested. Right. You can't be arrested. Nothing will happen. That's anarchy. Now, the thing is, anarchy is terrifying because anything can happen, and, there's no cops to call. On the other hand, you are allowed to be scrappy. You could defend yourself. And again, let's say you kill me, but then my people can come and kill you. Or I can defend myself and kill you before you have a chance to kill me. So it's kind of like it's Darwinism, right? And it's like that's how that is. But this is state violence, which is worse.
I agree.
So state violence is like, for example, what we saw under Nazism in the 1930s, where German laws continued to exist, right? Like in Berlin in 1936, it was still illegal for anyone to beat up someone. That was assault was against German law. You could be reported, you weren't allowed to. You would be arrested by a Berlin police officer and taken to trial, and like you would have been before Hitler came to power. Unless you were a brown shirt, you were a member of the SA, and you shot, and then you did it to a Jew. If you beat up a Jewish guy in 1935 on the street, nothing fucking happened if you were a brown shirt. And so that's state violence. And that's worse because there's violence, but you're not allowed to defend yourself against that violence. There can be no retribution for that violence. That violence is all one way and it's directed toward you. And so literally what it is, it's state terror. You literally are terrorizing the population of an entire country. That's what Donald Trump is doing here. And I don't think he really cares about deporting people. I don't think he cares about protecting American jobs. I think this is really what this is about, is creating an unaccountable brown shirt like Gestapo goon squad that is here to oppress the American people, destroy states' rights, destroy the Second Amendment and your right to bear arms, and make it so that we are all vassals, and we basically have to be like Sieg Heil to Trump. And we're not. And look, Manila. There's another detail here. Kristi Noem offered to withdraw ICE from Minneapolis in exchange for all of Minnesota's voting data about all their voters. Now, that tells me this is about flipping elections.
Yeah, it's always about the elections, Ted, but
they're fucking insane. These people are
I agree with you.
Insane.
I agree with you on your whole analysis.
And the Republicans have completely lost all credibility. This is like when the Democrats were telling us for years, Joe Biden, he's sharp as a tack. He's great. Don't believe your lying eyes. And the Republicans and the American people, most of them were quiet, and they just voted against Kamala because they were like, fuck you for lying to us, right? And similarly, Democrats kept lying to us about, all sorts of other shit. They lied to us about COVID stuff. They lied all sorts of stuff. And then basically everybody kind of had this resentment. That's where the Republicans are now. The Republicans are literally going and saying shit that they know isn't true, and that they know we know isn't true. And you don't have to be a commie like me to say it's not true. Look, everybody has to pretend like, oh, don't go to you've seen it on X, man. Oh, you're on X. Like, don't go to Republicans are all saying, don't go to a protest with a gun. Otherwise, bad things could happen. Who brings a gun to
that point?
Nerd
in the Rumble chat.
Kyle Rittenhouse brings a gun to a protest.
Nerd
in the Rumble
chat.
To a protest? All the guys at the Unite the Right rally
Suddenly, Republican talking heads are all against the Second Amendment, totally forgetting the armed protesters at the Michigan Capitol during COVID. They all stormed the freaking Capitol
on January 6th.
They
brought guns to a protest.
The Michigan.
Oh, right. That too.
Because they were, I forget what the topic was, but they were pissed off about something, and they're all armed because the Second Amendment is very strong. Is it Michigan or Minnesota? But Nerd says it was Michigan.
Both.
And
there's a lot of hunters in those states.
Mr. Lee says, can you imagine to media if what was happening in Minneapolis happened in China or Russia? If the state killed a protester in such a manner in St. Petersburg or in Beijing, can you imagine? This is like another Tiananmen. Like, we would be all against the state, to Mr. Lee's point.
Donald Trump is really, he threatened Iran with military action in order to protect Iranian protesters. But meanwhile, at the same time, his people are killing Americans.
Our protesters. Yeah. Protest in America.
And he's killing them for fun.
Ted,
and the other thing is, and the thing
let's be clear.
And there's
protest in USA, bad. Protest in Iran, good.
Yeah, no, that's right. It reminds me of 1981 when there were the solidarity protests in Poland. It was like at the same exact time, Ronald Reagan was firing the air traffic controllers for joining a union and going on strike. It's like, oh, well, we like trade unions in the communist bloc, but we don't like trade unions in the capitalist bloc,
Yeah, what's good for the goose is not always good for the gander. And we see Clovis in the background.
We do. I just saw his tail in my rearview mirror here.
Yeah, we'll move along on that. But last point I want to make about what we're talking about earlier. Where do you think this
goes next? We do have to talk about that.
Ted, self-preservation.
Okay, go.
This is where I'm at now, where I'm like, holy fuck, they're just killing people on the streets. Like they're just doing it. Like at this point, the same advice I would have given the poor lady in New York City who got reversed into by a snowplow. If you know that these goons are trigger happy, they don't really know how to handle firearms or varying types of firearms like this particular SIG. I'm familiar with SIGs. I will say one thing about I may or may not own a certain type of SIG, but they're known to jam up a lot. I have to say I don't really like SIG. It's a nice gun. It's a good look, not the one he had, but they tend to make good looking.
I mean, what are the pros of that gun?
Well, the one that he has, I've never handled. I've never seen. I thought his gun was kind of ugly, but
yeah, it's definitely ugly. No, for sure. It's like an odd looking gun for sure.
It's a very strange looking gun. But if what I know about
Robbie
SIGs are
cheap.
Consistent, they're cheaper than a Glock.
Yeah, Glocks
they're
are expensive. Yeah,
they're not.
I don't
cheap.
like the balance.
SIGs
of the
are
Glock,
expensive.
To be honest, I feel like the block is a little.
I'll put Robbie up
front
there.
heavy and heavy.
So look, my experience with
a
SIG. My experience with the SIG is they're compact, they're nice, at least the ones I've had experience with is they're sleek and good looking. However, they jam up a lot and you need to clean and oil them a lot.
I would hate that.
And I don't, from what I heard about his,
I want my gun to be like a Honda.
Safety.
It just goes,
Yeah, no, this SIGs, from my experience is I don't like them. I don't like them.
I like Jericho 941s. That's the only thing from Israel that I think I'd ever buy.
Not an
This,
Uzi.
no, I mean, you just waste ammo with a fully automatic gun like that. I mean, it's kind of really pointless. Plus, if you're that close, you're going to get ventilated anyway. So, not the best choice if you want to go out and hunt ice agents.
Right. That doesn't make sense. That narrative is bullshit, obviously.
Of course it is. Now, if you're going to do that,
wouldn't you be hiding on a rooftop? Like,
but Manila, what's your please finish your point about the self-preservation.
Oh, the self-preservation is if you know these guys be shooty and can't wait to pull the trigger on your gun or theirs. If you know they be shooty, at this point, like the self-preservation, should you even? I know this is the effect that they want, is to quell protests and make them go away, but at this point, shouldn't there be self-preservation?
Would say, look, nobody's protesting. Nobody cares.
But at this point, where do you draw the line, guys, for self-preservation? Like, how do you avoid scuffles with ICE, or can you just
personally,
stay in a mob
as the grandson of a French Resistance hero, I got to tell you, I would not go to a protest like that for the very reason that you talk about. I mean, honestly, as far as I'm concerned, until the left, which is the only people who would oppose this at this point, is ready to engage the forces of oppression, man style with guns, there's no point. And so, like, you basically hold your fire, you wait for the clampdown, and then you show up for that. But I think I'm with you. I don't think it's a smart tactic. I think it's like you show up. Those people are fucking dangerous as shit, and we've got to save ourselves.
What they're doing is giving political capital to the ruling class there in Minnesota in this case. I mean, you're not going to do anything. The governor can, the sheriff can, Mayor Fry can, but the mob can't. There's nothing you can do. But
you know what I hate the most, Robbie? This weekend, they had me cheering for Tampon Tim.
Lame. He was definitely lame, though. I mean, it's kind of like,
no, I know, but I was like,
he couldn't even
be more forceful.
He couldn't even gin up real anger. Yeah,
I know.
It's because they're not mad.
Yeah, he doesn't care,
dude. I'm like, can you say something a little more than like
Amy Klobuchar was like Amy Klobuchar was on this on Stephanopoulos, kind of like with her weird grin. Like, it's like, why you be grinning? Like,
because they want
you're an actor. You're supposed to know how to act. You're supposed to be like this, like.
Do an AOC, wear your white jeans, go to the fence and cry.
Or be like Bill Clinton, like bite your lip, like.
No,
These are bad, like B-list actors nowadays.
Yeah, it's very bad.
No, we're on Rumble, so I can say this. First of all, if you want to go and if you want to be Rambo and you want to take on ICE agents, you're not going to take a pistol against a bunch of people that are wearing body armor because you can't defeat it. Second, by the time you get close enough to get a couple of shots off, you're done. So what have you accomplished? Absolutely nothing.
Right.
So I'm not going to violate. No, I'm not going to tell you how to go hunt people. But a pistol is not what you would use. You want to have, you would want to have something with a longer muzzle. Just kind of put it that way. Second, you're not changing anything. All you're doing is giving a talking point to people who at the end of the day want more control, which is what Trump wants anyway. So all you're doing is feeding.
That's why I'm saying, what choice do you have other than self-preservation at this point? I mean, if you're going to go protest. But I mean, what do you just make sure you don't have any interactions with these people? You stay in your cordoned area. That's how we end up with a fucking chop zone, like in Seattle or whatever it was during the George Floyd era. Like,
I don't think it's protesting. I think what they're doing is that they're following ICE agents around trying to obstruct. So that's different. So if you're just going on to the park and you're protesting against ICE, no one's going to care.
Yeah, it's basically civil disobedience is what it is.
Yeah, what these people are doing, they're going blocking roads. They're trying to be a nuisance. They're being obnoxious. That's what they're doing.
And that's the case of where, like, if that's what they're doing, then you are putting yourself in harm's way
Well,
Of course you are.
clearly, I mean, 2 people
And
are dead and other people have been shot
maybe
that
you
we're not
shouldn't
even
do that.
talking about because, like, they didn't die, right? But a number of people have been
Right.
shot. No, very
I mean,
clearly. I mean, look, you know, the line, the dividing point between bravery and stupidity is a very narrow one, and these people are brave, but in my view, I don't think as a leftist that it's a great tactic. I've been very critical
yeah.
in my cartoons and in my writing of these tactics. I don't think it's a good idea. I mean, the fact is, these are the agents of the state. They've been told that nothing will happen to them. This is not true.
Yeah.
They
It's
do
been
face
shown.
prosecution in the future, but they are stupid and mean, and they think they can do whatever the fuck they want. So, you know, I mean, it's hilariously, some of their defenders were saying, "Oh, they haven't had a good meal in weeks." I'm like, Google Maps, go to the restaurant. The Twin Cities have many good restaurants. You will get a hearty meal, believe me.
Provided they'll serve you.
Yeah, you'll get some right winger to serve you.
Well,
I'm
they're
sure.
in regular clothes anyway. They just need to take off their body armor, and you're in regular clothes anyway. So
don't be mookie when
you're a dude in a hoodie. You're a dude in a hoodie. That's
that's true
it.
too.
So we should.
What do you mean you haven't had a good meal in days?
I have
what
a
does
question
that got
for
to
you.
do with anything?
I have a question for both of y'all. I think this would be what the Trump administration should do next, because right now they're losing the plot. I mean, they're even starting to lose people like me,
Speaking of which,
bad.
before you hold that thought, because this is related, and then please resume. Donald Trump's latest truth, he just sent this out. I'm sending Tom Homan to Minnesota tonight. He has not been involved in that area, but he knows and likes many of the people there. Tom is tough but fair and will report directly to me. Separately, a major investigation is going on with respect to the massive $20 billion plus welfare fraud that has taken place in Minnesota and is at least
billion?
Yeah, he said billion, at least partially responsible for the violent organized protests going on in the streets. By the way, the organized thing, I'd love to get a job as a professional protester. If any right winger can put me in touch with like the Soros people, whoever who are supposedly paying for these protesters, please put me in touch. I want that job. Anyway, additionally, the DOJ and Congress are looking at quote unquote Congresswoman, scare quotes, Ilhan Omar. She is a Congresswoman who left Somalia with nothing and is now reportedly worth more than $44 million. What about you, Donald? You were worth nothing when you became president. I don't know about that. And now you're worth billions. Anyway, time will tell. I don't think
an 8-year-old made the decision to come to the U.S. on her own.
Thank you for your attention to this matter, President DJT. He not a word of sympathy or empathy for the victim or his family or for people who are traumatized. Not a word of compassion.
The narrative about him is inconsistent with his character from what we know, being an ICU nurse, being, this outdoorsy, like loves nature guy, smiley bicyclist. He's a cyclist. He's an outdoorsy guy. He's an ICU nurse.
Patriot. There's a video of him reading a very moving statement about a fallen veteran over his body in the ICU.
Oh,
and he's like talking.
By all accounts, he was like a nice dude,
and an American patriot. We don't even know that he was a liberal.
We don't. I don't know. It's a very sad story. But the point is,
Robbie, please continue about your thoughts about Trump and all that.
Well, I think he's losing the plot. I mean, if you start losing an immigration hawk like me, and you lose the NRA and the Gun Owners of America, you know that you have you've successfully destroyed what's left of your coalition.
I agree.
The NRA clapped back this weekend. Good point, Robbie.
So Bob Gorell, who's a right-wing cartoonist, friend of mine, he posted on my Facebook yesterday that, he said, I think he's like in his 70s. He said, I'm old enough to remember the My Lai massacre. And people, the Nixon administration tried to talk it away, but it didn't matter. Once you lose the hearts and minds of the American people, he's like, Bob believed in the Vietnam War, but he's like, they were lost. That was it. And he said, this is a moment like that. The hearts and minds of the American people are just no longer into this. And you can't talk it away. All you're doing now at this point, saving the whole ICE surge is over. That's done. If you're the president, you need to save yourself and try to get your credibility back. And you got to come clean at this point and admit that you fucked up, like Robbie said.
Yeah. Last comment, Robbie, and then we got to move on.
What Trump should do is that he should just make it very clear that Minnesota, as long as they do not enforce immigration law, will not receive a single dime of federal funding.
Well, they
Period.
do enforce
Education's done.
immigration law. I mean, they
No, they don't.
literally they do so. Like,
What's the definition? Hold on. What's the difference? Explain to me what the definition is of a sanctuary city if they enforce immigration law.
But wait, let me finish my thought here.
We got to move on.
In Minnesota, the if you are in prison and and ICE approaches the prison and says, you've got like a criminal we'd like to deport, they will do that. So it's not like they don't cooperate at all. And there's still criminals in Minnesota prisons that ICE hasn't bothered to go after. I mean, I have no problem with that. Please, we don't need them. Send them out. Send them home.
I don't want to mix and match the Alex Pretti story and with immigration law, because we got to move on. We already know where you stand, Rob.
This is relative though.
How is it relevant,
just say this?
Though?
Because
we don't have time. We got to go.
Okay, I'll go away. Bye bye.
Okay. So yeah, that's that. Alex Pretti. I don't know. At this point, I'm like, don't die with a snowplow. Don't die with an ICE officer. That's my only advice.
I mean, I would not advise anyone to go out there with their whistles or whatever in the minus 7 degree cold and fuck with those people.
Don't put yourself between an ICE guy's gun and whatever they're doing.
No, I mean, I seriously,
I would say don't do that.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Thousands of people flocked to a Japanese zoo yesterday to say farewell to the country's last 2 giant pandas, who are on a plane home tomorrow to China. Emotions ran high at the Ueno Zoo in Tokyo, which I've been to actually, as people stood in line, some for as long as 3.5 hours, to see twin cubs Zhao Zhao and Lele one last time. This comes at a tense moment in relations between Japan and China. Ties have deteriorated ever since Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaishi said that Tokyo would get involved militarily if China attacks Taiwan. The twins' departure will leave Japan without any pandas for the first time since 1972, when the 2 countries normalized diplomatic relations. The PRC has used giant pandas as goodwill gestures towards its international allies and other countries since it was founded back in 1949.
But China, wait a minute.
Sorry.
So are the pandas like if your boyfriend gives you a puppy for Christmas and then you break up and you're like, give me the puppy back?
No, they're loaner pandas.
Oh, they're loners.
China retains ownership of all pandas it loans to foreign countries.
All,
including the cubs who are born overseas. In return, the host country pays about $1 million per pair of pandas per year.
Oh, they're on rent?
Yeah, they're rental. They're rental pandas.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they're mean too. Maybe they could be, since ICE has been discredited, maybe
maybe the
pandas could be deployed in the streets of Minneapolis. First of all, they're used to the weather, and they're far better looking than ICE agents, who are pretty much all.
They're the cute kind of fat.
ICE agents are inbred. ICE agents are like their mother is also their sister. It's like that.
They're heavy guys, and these pandas are cute fat though. There's
that's
Ted,
true.
For us girls, we're like, there's fat, and then there's like cute fat.
and then there's stout. Not the same thing.
They're cute.
According to Tokyo's local government, 108,000 people tried to get in to see one of the 4,400 slots so that they could see the pandas for the very last time. Some visitors were pictured crying as they said goodbye to the bears. Zhao Zhao and Lele were born in 2021 at the Ueno Zoo to their mom, Shin Shin, and their dad, Riri, both of whom were on loan for breeding research. More recently, China's panda loans have coincided with major trade agreements. In 2011, the loan of 2 pandas to the Edinburgh Zoo in Scotland was agreed upon during negotiations over contracts to supply salmon meat, Land Rover vehicles, and energy tech to China. Some pandas have been returned to China in recent years. A loan agreement typically lasts 10 years. I don't know how long they live, though, although extensions are common. However, prospects of a new panda loan remained uncertain amid the escalating row. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaishi's comments on Taiwan angered China, which views the self-governing island as its own territory. By the way, so does Japan officially, and has not ruled out the use of force to reunite with it. Both sides have engaged in hostile actions and rhetoric ever since. Earlier this month, China tightened its restrictions on exports of rare earths to Japan. So it's pandemonium.
Yes, I know. I won't.
It's
Here
a
in DC,
terrible
remember,
pun.
our rental pandas were just born recently, so they're all cute. They're probably tumbling. I haven't looked at the panda cam. I forgot to see if they're like tumbling
I think
down
President Xi gets along
snow.
pretty well with Trump, though, right? So probably okay.
Yeah, so I guess we get to have these pandas for a while, but they're so cute. So this whole thing with, so obviously, for anyone that knows anything about Asian history, historically, there's bad blood between Japan and China, folks.
Yeah. And
To say the least.
frankly, it's Japan's fault.
Yes. And Sanae Takaichi, this first lady prime minister who made
who's a
husband,
crazy nationalist right winger,
who made her husband, who she married twice. She did a Liz Taylor.
Was there an in-between husband? Or was it sort of like reunited and it feels so
but
good?
She married this guy twice. So
really?
In the second marriage, she made him take her last name.
Really? Well, I hope she doesn't hit him like Mrs. Macron.
We covered this on the show, and I was like, like I guess that's progressive. I don't know, but that was when she was inaugurated. So okay, so here she is. She meets with Trump, and now we always knew that Japan, after World War II, became like a full-on vassal state to the U.S. We know that.
Well, I mean, in fairness, they did lose a world war that they started against us. So they kind of...
I know.
So
is that what you give up?
Fair.
You give up your sovereignty for the rest of your life because America kicked your ass?
Well, I would say that given the shit that both Japan and Germany pulled, neither of them should have ever had a country again.
Unsung patriot Pat.
Let's have someone from Nanjing come in to talk about it. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Unsung Pat, thank you for the donation. Unsung Pat says, any thoughts on the 12 billion, 35 billion, I guess today, that the U.S. owes Nicaragua in reparations from 1986 International Court of Justice ruling? U.S. obviously refuses to pay. Oh, the U.S. will never pay. No, we don't recognize.
Maybe you can send them China's Panda.
The ICJ. We don't recognize the ICJ, Pat. Like we don't, or else we would have arrested Netanyahu when he came, we don't recognize. We pick and choose whoever we want to recognize when we want to recognize it. Just like we pretend to recognize Japan as its own sovereign state when in reality we control what's happening there, which is why the one party has pretty much been in charge the entire time since World War II, other than like one short 5-year stint or something that they weren't in charge. But it's because the U.S. has designated, who's going to rule Japan, and Japan is our satellite country to rein in China, right? Is to like keep control of China. Just like Trump is using bastardizing, but using the Monroe Doctrine to basically own Nicaragua and all the other Latin states, in between here in South America. Again, bastardizing it. But like you said earlier, Ted, the mask is off. There's no veneer anymore of like trying to act diplomatic. Japan is just going to do our bidding. And I'm surprised she hasn't said, Sensei Trump told me that I need to say this to you, President Xi. I'm surprised she hasn't just said it. So, but that at the end of the day, that's actually what's going on. Is she's talking tough because she apparently got in Trump's good graces when he went to Japan a few months ago, when she was inaugurated, and I guess now she wants to be in his orbit, and if it means bad relations with your immediate neighbor, with Xi Jinping, so be it. That's what she's doing. And I don't think that's doing any favors for the Japanese economy because they I mean, literally, you could be a trading partner right there. You're so close to each other. But, Japan's part of the G7, and they always vote in the way the US wants, like freezing Russian assets and all of that, and, using that money to give Zelensky and whatever. Again, over and over and over and over, Japan proves that they're a vassal state and have no interest of like keeping their own sovereignty and deciding things that are best for them. They're going to do things that are best for America. So even though Trump's not America first, Japan is America first. So they love baseball.
Manila, what I still don't understand, I'm very confused by this, is how can a country, which is most of the world, that doesn't acknowledge Taiwanese independence. First of all, Taiwan has not declared independence, okay, at all. So according to Taiwan, they're not an independent country. Taiwan says, we are the same as mainland China, but we're going to be in charge. The minnow is going to eat the whale. But basically they're not saying they're their own country. And then no one else says that they're, I don't know, like Vanuatu says that they're like a few Pacific Island countries, like 8 of them, right, says that still recognizes Taiwan. But Japan doesn't. So how can the US or Japan or any of these countries who officially tell China, we know Taiwan is yours, you guys are going to work it out at some point, we don't know how can we justify interceding or defending the Taiwanese if the Chinese ever go in militarily? I don't get this. What is the legal basis for it?
I don't get any of that. I don't get how.
I'm not even talking about the politics. The politics are retarded. But I mean,
right, the actual logistics.
Legally, legally, how do you do this mechanically?
What I don't get is how any of these smaller Asian countries, given the rise of China and everybody, this is not a Manila statement. This is like an economist statement. 20th century belonged to America, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly, that was America's, that was our century. The 21st century, all the economists, might as well be unanimous. They all say the 21st century belongs to China. Like the future is China, right? And that said, why do the smaller Asian countries, like a part of, the folks in ASEAN or whatever, how can any of them continue to function on a 20th century model by bowing down to American dictates and not try to have a better relationship with China when China's literally your neighbor, like literally the biggest kid in that room, in that block? Why would you not want to make nice with them? Why would you want to agitate them? Like, I feel like that doesn't make sense when that's literally on your block. It's in your neighborhood. Don't operate on the 20th century, ideology of America will be our savior. We'll trade with America. That's not how things work anymore. It's China's century, and the dragon has risen, and I feel like the more provocations that the US poses there, it's going to make all those smaller countries poorer. So Japan, given all of their birth bust crises, their economic crises, I just feel like it's a bad move, man. And I know it's like the panda is the symbol of that. It's like, well, that cute, fluffy, we've been friends since 1972 now. We forgive you for, trying to invade us hundreds of years ago and stealing and raping our women and, killing babies. We'll make nice. Here's some pandas. That time's over. And I feel like it's not going to get any better. And I just wish the other Asian countries would really consider the model that they're operating on, that the 20th century model isn't going to work anymore. It won't work with the rise of BRICS, with just China, the rise of China and the very last part of the 20th century. It's not a Manila assessment. These are big egghead economists that all seem to agree the 21st century belongs to Asia and specifically China. Make nice with China. Japan, you're in a death spiral. I don't know what to tell you. The only way to get out of it is make nice with China and break free of your shackles of the US. That's, I don't know what else to tell them. Like, it's just dumb. Looks dumb to me.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right, let's get on to the So, when 4 astronauts began a historic trip around the moon, as soon as February 6th, so 2 weeks-ish, they'll climb aboard NASA's 16 and a half foot wide. That's small, Ted. That's the size of a bedroom.
Well, I don't know where the fuck you live. In New York City, that's the size of 3 bedrooms.
Oh my God. Jeez,
Well, it's 2. It's 2. Yeah.
16 and a half foot wide Orion spacecraft with the understanding that it has a known flaw, one that has some experts urging the space agency not to fly the mission with humans on board. Maybe a plant, send a geranium up there. Ted, not humans is what they're saying. I don't know. Maybe they might mean like send a cat up there, Schrodinger's cat, send him up there, unbox him, see if he's alive, send him up. But NASA remains confident it has a handle on the problem and that the vehicle can bring the crew home safely. The issue relates to a special coating applied to the bottom part of the spacecraft called the heat shield. It's a crucial piece of hardware designed to protect the astronauts from extreme temperatures as they descend back to Earth during the final stretch of their moon-bound mission called Artemis 2. That's the mission. So it's the second Artemis mission. This vital part of the Orion spacecraft is nearly identical to the heat shield flown on Artemis 1, an uncrewed 2022 test flight. That prior mission's Orion vehicle returned from space with a heat shield pockmarked by unexpected damage, prompting NASA to investigate the issue. And while NASA is poised to clear the heat shield for flight, even those who believe the mission is safe acknowledge there is unknown risk involved. Quote, "This is a deviant heat shield," says Dr. Danny Olivas, a former NASA astronaut who served on the space agency-appointed independent review team that investigated that incident. He said, "There's no doubt about it. This is not the heat shield that NASA would want to give the astronauts." Still, Dr. Olivas says he believes after spending years analyzing what went wrong with that heat shield, NASA has, quote, "has its arms around the problem." Upon completing the investigation just last year, NASA determined it would fly the Artemis 2 Orion capsule as is. So no changes. No changes. We're just going to fly it as is.
Hope for the best.
Believing it could ensure the crew's safety. Here's how they're going to do it, Ted. Instead of fixing the heat shield, they're just going to alter the flight path.
Yeah.
So they're going to change the map quest.
It's not like we're going to space.
We're just going to tweak. So Ted, instead of like re-entering near Cape Canaveral, maybe it's less hot if you like re-enter, I don't know, in the Caribbean Sea or something.
Or maybe, like in Minnesota.
Yeah, like
then your fall will be broken by the sound by the bullets that ICE is firing.
Ted, if you were if you're one of the crew of Artemis 2,
I'd be terrified.
Would you go? If knowing that this is the assessment, I know 12 days out from flight.
Look, the facile answer is of course no, but the real answer is of course
then
yes.
You look like
because
pussy,
well, not to mention you're dying to go.
Like,
this is
going.
Like you're dying to go. This is what you've trained for. This is what you've dreamed about. You're dying to go on this mission, and you're going to take the chance. That's the reality.
You really think these people, their desire to do this outweighs their desire to ensure staying alive?
Manila, here's my
self-preservation. Again, that's the theme. Self-preservation.
Several years ago, NASA asked their scientists, their astronauts, if they would be willing to go on a one-way trip to Mars in case they couldn't get them back. And they all said yes to a man.
So these people are that passionate.
Yes, I would be too. I would be too. Yeah, if I were in that program, I would be dying to go. Literally, if I died doing that, I'd be like, it's okay, it's fine. Yeah,
really.
But I don't think, but I think the thing is, they shouldn't be in that position. NASA
No, I
shouldn't.
agree.
NASA should do the right thing and fix this.
No, I agree.
Thing, obviously,
they're just
what a
gonna
bunch of fucking. Can you imagine these retards? If this thing burns up in the atmosphere, like space, was it space shuttle? The Columbia. If it burns up and they all come down in bits and pieces over the freeway in Texas, like they did last time, I mean,
oh my God,
they're going to look at these articles and they'll be like, you guys were told about this, you knew this, and you did it anyway. And heads are going to roll.
They did not change. That's what's the mind-boggling part here is they know and they refuse to.
By the way, this is what happened
change the heat
with
shield.
Columbia. The same thing. It was a heat shield failure. That's what caused that guy's torso to end up on the state route in Texas.
Is that right? I don't remember.
Yeah. You remember that disaster?
No, I remember the disaster. I remember watching it live on TV.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah, they fell out. They burned up in the upper atmosphere and fell out in bits and pieces over the course of thousands of miles. Someone's head was in someone's head ended up in some dude's head ended up in some guy's swimming pool. We're gonna have to drain the pool. We're not ready to swim yet, Bob. We're trying to get the astronaut juice out.
Oh God. So
insane.
Okay. Ted, this is why people have lost faith in NASA. This isn't 1965 anymore,
and
right?
In the government.
They've lost faith in NASA. Like, this is why you're giving more gravitas to people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk because they keep trying over and over and over to perfect it before they send.
Imagine.
Like, NASA used to do that. They used to have quality control.
Well, they probably still
the Russians certainly do that.
You know they're doing it all on the fucking cheap, right?
Roscosmos certainly 100%. I've reported so many stories on them the last 12 years. I know that they have no shame in scrubbing a mission if one little tiny thing is off. A tiny thing.
Yeah, well,
this is not a tiny thing. Well, obviously, when you're a professional, that's what you do. When you're a serious country with a serious, space program, that's what you do. You protect your astronauts.
You mean as opposed to
cosmonauts?
Good enough.
Yeah, fine.
It'll be okay. It'll be fine.
You guys ready? Let's go, boys. Up and at 'em. Get to that moon. Get to the dark side of the moon. By the way, thank you, Ray, for giving another membership. Why are they
just orbiting the moon and not landing, pussies?
I don't know. Well, because we talked about the Moon Hotel last week.
We haven't been there since the 70s.
I know. We talked about the moon, but that kid in
how are we gonna have the Moon Hotel when we can't
Skylar Chan?
We can't even visit.
Well, the kid in California, the Berkeley kid, he's gonna. Don't worry about it, Ted.
Yeah, he's got it covered.
He's got it. Don't worry about it, Ted. Okay, we're gonna have a hotel.
23-year-old.
Don't worry about it. The kid said he's gonna have the hotel.
Moon hotel's gonna be so rad.
Amazing things are born out of Berkeley, Ted.
That's true.
The kid is gonna figure it out, and we'll land back on the moon. Don't worry about it. Don't you worry your pretty little head.
Okay.
Just you go research some Cruella de Vil later. Don't worry. Don't worry about this. Skylar Chan's got it. NASA, maybe, I don't know, hire this kid. Maybe he'll have some ideas. But I just know all these people, all these astronauts tend to be moms and dads. Like, they're all married. They have kids. Like, what do you tell your fucking kids? Your wife hears this. And if you're Mrs. Astronaut and you're reading the news and you're like, wait a minute, the Artemis heat shield has a catastrophic flaw and they're not fixing it. Bob, I don't know that I want you to go on this work trip. Like, that would be my response as a spouse of an astronaut. I'd be like, I don't know that I want you to do this. Like, the 3 kids need their dad.
Right. No doubt.
So I would I don't know. I would have a major problem with that,
But like
especially because
honestly,
it's made
you're
public
gonna.
now.
The truth is, they're just gonna end up going. That's just how it is.
I know. It's just, how do you justify that to your family if something happens? Like, I just, golly. Do they get, you know how the military has like gold star families and stuff? Do the astronauts have that? And do they have
By
like
the
a
way, the
compensation
military doesn't
plan?
have gold star families. That's just a thing. That's a World War II thing that they used to do. It ended years and years and years ago.
So there's
And
no
like,
real program anymore?
no, you don't
Like,
get like the moms don't actually get like a gold star. They used, like in World War II, like if you were a gold star parent, you could put like the poster with the gold star up in your window and stuff like that, so all your neighbors knew. That's just like it like fell out of favor. Everyone stopped doing it, and then like it was resurrected sort of in like by the the grifters at Tunnels to Towers, who are like the ultimate grifter organization, right? Basically, they steal all the money. It's like they like 1% of the money goes to to the vets and shit. It's bullshit. And I know they've tried to rehabilitate it. Like, sorry, Marky Mark, but it's a piece of shit organization. Should have been closed down by the federal government years ago. Anyway, they
well, but like, did the astronauts have the program? Like, if I'm a widowed spouse of
they say
of an Orion astronaut, do I get like, is there special life insurance NASA gives me? Is there?
I don't think so.
Do my kids get to go to college for free?
Sure you get.
I'm
sure you get like. I'm sure. I mean, I think you're essentially treated like the wife of. It's like if you. It's not really different than if you were married to an Air Force pilot and something happened to him. You have your own arrangements, whatever life insurance that you got. No, I don't think it's sort of like, don't worry. The bad news is your husband's thorax is now on State Route 27. The good news is you're now worth $10 million. I don't think it works that way.
They don't have that. I mean, it just seems, I feel like it's bad. This is bad PR. If and should anything bad, I hope not for Orion, for Artemis 2. I'm just pointing out ahead of time that if anything does go bad, it's going to look really, really, really bad on NASA.
So they get a settlement, is what I'm reading here. They get a percentage. They get 55% of the astronaut's salary, then they negotiate a settlement. So families of the Columbia shuttle tragedy, which we've just been talking about, they received settlements totaling all the families combined. I think the crew was 4 or 5 people. Yeah. Actually, I think it's bigger than that. I think they had 6 or 7. Anyway, the point is they total got $26.6 million. So probably about a few million each.
Ugh. It's just an icky thing to talk about. But again, it's because we know that there's a problem and they're going with it. While these
benefits
anyway.
Provide financial support, they're aimed at replacing lost future income rather than being a get-rich scenario. Basically,
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
With PR, it's just that we know that there's something wrong and they're going forward anyways. That's the point. All right, let's go to the last fun story.
On January 6th, the District Court of Overijssel in the Netherlands, of course, where else would someplace called that be, invalidated a wedding ceremony held in April of last year in the city of Zwolle. Zwolle? I don't know how you pronounce that. Despite the married couple's pleas, the court decided that their marriage never really existed legally because the wording of their wedding speeches, which had been generated by ChatGPT, did not include
so romantic.
It did not include certain mandatory phrases like Ted Rall, because ChatGPT does not allow the phrase Ted Rall. No, so it did not include certain mandatory phrases. The Dutch couple had appointed a friend to officiate as a temporary civil registrar known as, this is awesome, Indagbabs. Endagbabs. That's going to be like my new name for any like sort of
Index Bobs.
Hello, you will always be my sweet Index Babs. in the Netherlands, and he decided to have ChatGPT generate more romantic and informal speeches for the newlyweds. The lesson here is use Grok instead of ChatGPT. The bot came up with a more relaxed version of the usual wedding speech, but one that didn't include the mandatory declaration, which is, do you promise that today, tomorrow, and all the days to come, you want to stand by, enter name of woman here? The man was asked during the wedding ceremony to laugh together, to grow together, and love each other no matter what life brings, to continue supporting each other, teasing each other, holding on to each other, even when life gets tough, the woman was asked. Under Article 1.67 of Dutch Civil Code, a marriage is only legal when the spouses declare in the presence of the registrar and their chosen witnesses that they accept each other as husband and wife and will fulfill all duties attached to the married state by law. Unfortunately, the AI-generated speech included no such declaration. Although I think it's quite lovely to talk about the whole laugh together and tease each other. Although I'm not sure I would sign on to anything where my spouse was legally bound to tease me. But okay. Anyway, upon reviewing the ceremony held in Zwolle, or Zwolle, or whatever the fuck it is, in April last year, the municipality noticed the uptight, stick-up ass Dutch bureaucrat, noticed the lack of mandatory declaration from the newlywed speeches, and notified the public prosecutor's office in the Oost-Nederland district, which asked in turn that the marriage certificate be removed from the civil registry because the marriage was illegal. The couple contested the invalidation of their marriage over this trivial vow wording, asking the court to at least acknowledge April 25th as the year of their wedding, or as the date of their wedding, because of the date's significance to them. Request denied. The couple added that an official registrar from the municipality had been present to supervise their wedding, but had made no complaints at the time.
Oh my God.
The court understands that the marriage date recorded in the certificate is important to the man and the woman, but cannot disregard what is laid down in the law, the court said, adding that no marriage had come into existence between the two parties, and they are both, therefore, whores and harlots.
They've been living in sin the last year.
Yeah.
Ted.
They're adulterous leches and must be executed. They will be sent to Saudi Arabia and beheaded.
Look, this is more prime example of how Ted and I keep telling you AI is not ready for prime time.
No.
So, but at the same time, come on, Netherlands. Like, they left out one sentence and you're going to annul their marriage? Like, that's... Look, I get that, like, these Nordic-y Europeans, like, they're all about, like, rules and structure, and
so uptight.
That's why their furniture is so beautiful and well constructed.
True.
But come on, are you kidding me? They left out one line. Like, since when? I didn't know that. I guess implies, Ted, that you have to turn in your wedding vows, like, with your paperwork. Like,
it does imply that. That's true.
Your script,
I would say,
right?
Das Interstrippen. I think there's here's the thing. I understand that the court can't ignore the plain letter of the law. I do think that what they should have said is, okay, so technically you have not been married, but we're going to, I would say, like, rush into wedding, and we will get a declaration from the governor that will say, as far as we're concerned, effectively, you've been married since April 25th of last year, right? That's what they should have. They should have done something in honor of true love, and they weren't romantic. Let me just say that as much as I admire the Dutch people and blah blah blah, this shit would never have happened in France or Italy, where they care about romance.
Really?
No, they would have absolutely figured out a way to make it work. I mean, think about. Think about France.
The Dutch aren't known for being romantic.
But no, they're not. Think about it's just a form. It's just Holland's just a sort of. It's a Germany where you can smoke weed. So basically, like, in the event,
tulips.
Yeah, they have tulips and a lot of rain. But I think France is really uptight about citizenship, even more so than the U.S. Well, a lot more so. It's very hard to become a French citizen. That said, don't you remember the terminal story, that Tom Hanks movie? That's based on a true incident. Okay. And that happened in Charles de Gaulle airport in Paris. And this poor dude basically ended up in diplomatic limbo, stuck between two terminals, living there and having to bathe in like the public toilet for months. Anyway, the president of France, I want to say it was Chirac, I'm not sure, read about this story in the paper. And he was like, what the fuck? And he's like, post haste to the airport. And he drove to the airport, apologized to the man, handed him a French passport, and said, "It is our apologies. You are now a citizen of the French Republic." Just take care of it. Just do it. And that's what the Dutch should have done here. The president of Holland or the prime minister. The president should have absolutely just been like, I'm going to sign an edict here. Done.
I love, and we're coming up on Valentine's Day soon, believe it or not, Ted. What a shitty Valentine.
Well, the Dutch are not romantic people.
I know. I only have one Dutch friend, and he's a lovely guy, like very industrious.
Also, they have a weird language. Like
they make weird slurp sounds.
Well, that's not that true.
Slurp.
But also, someone can be talking right at you in Dutch, and you could swear from all the inflections and the tones that they're speaking English, but you don't know any of the words.
Oh yeah. It
sounds like English when you overhear it.
Kind of, and then their mannerisms are kind of like American-ish. So and then you're like, are you saying words backwards? Like,
like, are you a record playing backwards? Like, oh, I can hear like, your mother's or whatever. Yeah.
But let me tell you, and I'm not, no names, but my Dutch friend is the man, and
well, for now,
good looking
guy.
That
could change any time.
Well, now he's in his 50s. Like, he's not gonna change that. He's a Dutch male, good looking guy, and at the time, he married a very attractive Latina executive in America, in California, right? Good looking couple. They had an adorable kid. They bought a big house, living the dream, right? He had his own business. She was an executive, and their personalities are so different. Can you imagine like a South American Latina, right?
That's
like feisty,
crazy, like spicy, and
and she was all those things, right? And here's this mild-mannered, button-down, straight-laced, like Dutch, like everything's a particular.
It's either a match made in hell or in heaven. I don't know which.
Right. So I thought, oh well, maybe she's like the spice in his coffee, like she's the spice in his.
And maybe
meal.
He's like it's like something wild, like it's like where it's like she's the Melanie Griffith. Like basically they kind of offset each other.
So I thought, he
grounds
great.
her.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, like maybe
tells her no every time she wants to do anything bureaucratic.
So I thought, okay, well, maybe they balance each other out, because she's like this feisty Latina and he's that stereotype Dutch dude. But anyway, fast forward to many years being married, have a family, buy this big, beautiful house. And needless to say, Ted, donezo. After a few years of marriage.
Oh, did you ever get the inside scoop?
Just irreconcilable differences. We'll just say that. Yeah, but I don't think anyone cheated. I think it's just that
they just couldn't get along.
It was my original prediction of like, I was like, are you sure that's what you want to do? Like, but you're so like this and she's so like that. Like, are you sure?
They just drove each other crazy.
You sure? And that was that. So, with this Dutch couple, it sounds like they even have a special date, 4/25/25. Sounds like. So like something, maybe they're one of those rare romantic-y couples in the Netherlands.
Who are
And the
also into
courts
numerology.
Right. The courts should. I feel sad for them because I love love. I'm a sappy American. I love a good rom-com if it's a good one. If
Well,
a
look,
lot
the
of
good
shit.
news is, Manila, they're in Holland, so they can just get high and forget the whole thing.
But still, it's what a shitty. Anyway, it's a love story, but it was a shitty ending.
Well, yeah. Yeah,
So happy Monday.
True love conquers everything but Dutch bureaucracy.
Happy Monday, everybody.
Bye.
Be
See
careful
you
if you're
tomorrow.
having a destination wedding, Ted. That's the rule here.
For
Gotta
sure.
be careful.
All right.
Adios, everybody. See you
Bye.
tomorrow. Happy Monday. Bye, all.